Navajo National Monument was established in 1909, and a couple of years later, or within 1909, there were Navajo camps all in this valley here, all in the canyon here. There was a particular family that lived outside at the mouth of this canyon here. His name was Navajo, and that's a Navajo given name. It means the man with the bearded face. He was my grandfather. He lived out here at the mouth of this canyon here. His wife was bilingual, and the first pioneers, the first excavators, the first people that ever set foot in here were coming up through Marsh Pass to enter this canyon area. At this time, they were coming back from Inscription House. Inscription House is no longer open to the public since 1968, but it's still there. It's fenced in. There's 40 acres of NPS land that belongs to Navajo National Monument, and the acreage here is 160 acres, and Quetzal has 160 acres. When they were traveling back through from Inscription House, they came through here, met up with this family that lives in the canyon. His son-in-law was designated by Mrs. Wetherill and Mr. Navajo. He was designated, his Navajo name was Betatakin, which means skinny rump. He was designated, he was paid $5. He brought up Mr. and Mrs. Wetherill through here, and Byron Cummings, and they saw the alcove and Betatakin, and Betatakin is also a Navajo given name, which means house on a ledge. And the Hopis have great respect for this site. They call it Kewestima, which means North Village, the North Shrine. They come through here annually to visit the site, and they make their offerings and do what they came to do each year. Every time they come down here, there's a pictograph on the side of the rock which we're going to visit, which they called, or they recognize the symbol, and they think that they say it's a fire clan symbol, and they have the clan system like we do, and the only linkage that the Navajos have to the Anasazis is a clan called Towering House Clan. We have over 200 clans in our culture, and a number of, I don't know how many clans the Hopis have. This is where I usually do my offering. It's a very sacred water to me, just like how the Hopis believe this is the North Shrine, the North Village. It's a very sacred place for them, and for that reason I have deep respect for their culture, and for that reason I do my offering so I can protect, for the safety of my group, protect them for their comfort and for their enjoyment for my tours that I usually come out here to do. It's a natural spring. It was here millions of years ago. It's fossil water, meaning that it's from the Pleistocene period. It's not recommended that you drink it. It hasn't been tested or approved. So you can feel it and put some on your face if you wish. But I usually fill my bottle here. Dreamt and believed and hoped that I would have this job 20 years ago, and it took me all that long to be accepted, to be welcomed. So now that I have it, I make sure I let my people know, the people that I have on my tour, the person that I would have gone to do my offerings and to get my blessings. I work with them closely so they realize, and I know, and the people that lived here before know that I'm going to be a daily visitor. This alcove actually measures 452 feet high. You could fit a 45-story building in here. 370 feet wide. The Rainbow Bridge can fit in here. This kiva here has a bench, and not necessarily for sitting. And the blackened area, the blackened smoked area is all original, and from the point where you don't see the smoke, the black anymore, is where it's been restabilized. The kiva is usually built a little ways underground, and the Hopis believe that since they're ancestors of the Anasazi people, they believe that during their ceremonial events they're in the third world. And when they emerge through the sipapu, or the opening of the kiva, then they believe today we're here in the fourth world. We and the archaeologists believe this is a kiva is because it has thicker walls, thicker than the other compartments that you will see as we start climbing up. The room might have been out to here. This log was placed here to sustain the rocks and soil coming off of the inside here. But there's a log like this in Quetzal that was believed to have been put there by the Anasazis to close the ruin. That a lot of times these are cultural beliefs, cultural religious beliefs. They would close out the area with a certain type of log, a certain type of rock. And as we go into the grinding room, I'll explain why the metates and manas are broken in half also. This is a granary here, or a grinding room, I'm sorry. And again, the manas and metatas are broken in half to indicate to other foreign incomers, to them foreign because they wouldn't know who was coming after. There's 3 grinding bins, obviously 3 different textures. The rough, coarse, medium, and fine. This was a granary, a storage room. A nice thin slab of rock would fit here, and loopholes would be coming out of here on both ends of the rock, both ends of the wall. And after the rock is put in place, they would put a stick to secure it, and it would be rodent proof. A normal family cluster would consist of 5 rooms, usually the grinding room, the granary, the storage, and the living room. The room clusters are fairly small. The females would have been normal, I guess, average height 5 feet 2.5 inches, 3 inches, and the males would be 5, 6, 5, 7. And normally 4 to 5 members per room cluster. And there were at least 25 room clusters here. It does have about 135 rooms altogether. This middle section, the gallery, is what we call this upper construction with the beams hanging out. Those beams were used as rebars to prevent the wall from coming down, or to sustain or maintain the soil and whatever's coming from behind. It's just a wall to keep the soil from coming down. This whole section here collapsed, and the middle section of the construction, the buildings were all damaged. And this happened shortly after they left in 1300. There was a period, 25 years of drought, and the tree ring dates, according to the tree ring dating, that's what the archaeologists come up with. Depletion of resources, game, the natural plants and edible vegetation in the area. Maybe religious, something happening in their religious world. They were very religious people. If they weren't, then there wouldn't be any signs of that beam or the matates or the smoke-filled rooms. Maybe they left in the very, very freezing winter cold, season. That's when they left. It's my theory. You can see now on the wall the Pilot Clan symbol. The Hopis have great respect for this. Like I said, they come back to visit and do their offerings here. The bighorn sheep, and in the center you have a palm, a handprint. Their way of signifying, or that's their signature, signifying this was the clan, identification. The bighorn sheep, perhaps edible game. And on this side of the wall here you can see a pink circle, but it's only pink 3/4 of the pie, and concentric circles on the other rock on the other side of the circle of the pie. I believe that it means water. You know how you throw a pebble into a water or a pond, it starts rippling. I had a question about how they got the white paint. And a friend of mine in Monument Valley said that it's from a plant. It's called a Jimson plant. And they just paint it on there, or when they put their handprint on there, they would put that plant, or they would eat it or something. It'd be filled in their mouth, and they would just blow. And that's how they come up with the handprint. And the rest of the bighorn sheep and the other symbol would have been painted on. This will conclude the tour. I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Thank you very much for sharing this experience with me, and to continue safely with your trip, with your travel. And I hope to see you again, maybe somewhere along the way, or roads or paths will cross again. Thank you very much. Just follow the same trail back out. Careful with the Watch out for the poison ivy. Watch your footing going back up the switchbacks. Drink your water. Go at your own pace. Make sure you latch the gates behind you. And thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.